Hi, I'm Greg. Welcome to Backyard Kombi. This 1964 Volkswagen bus project emerged out of a long-term interest of mine in restoration. That interest for the last decade has been focused on restoring vintage race bikes, in particular French race bikes, so really out-of-date, heavy, technologically arcane machines. So Volkswagen seemed like the next logical step in that progression. And I've always loved Volkswagens, but haven't ever owned one. My wife owned one in grad school, a 63 Bug. It was really cool. We drove it around, it broke down. We fixed it, broke down again, and then we sold it. Why document this project on YouTube? I'm no expert. Well, in some ways, it's an interesting project to see if someone like me can watch the videos that are out there by really knowledgeable experts. And if that's enough, along with the manuals and whatever advice I can get, if that's enough to pull this off. So we're going to find out. I'm going to start off by showing you some video clips of work I've already done. Work that occurred in the first day or two after I got the car. I got the idea for this garage and workspace for the bus from watching Mike Effen's Garage. Actually, he has another account called Mike's Random Videos. And there he shows through a whole series of videos how to construct and modify a Harbor Freight garage. And he installs it, anchors it in a concrete pad. He has a whole bunch of other things too. He makes it narrower so it's legal in his residential area. I'm not so much worried about that. I actually wish it was wider. I made the concrete pad wider here so I'd have some workspace. Among the other things that he does, he anchors it into the concrete. So I did that. I did it a lot. It looks like he only put in one bolt in places. I put in 2 and 3 because I was really worried about the wind and all the corners. And since I've done that, the few of my hairs left that are not gray have, managed to stay blonde because the wind was really whipping this thing around prior to anchoring it in concrete. He also gets some corrugated aluminum, and he basically sides the whole thing, puts a roof and sides up. I want to do that, or at least aspects of it. I want to put a roof on with a corrugated aluminum. But because this isn't just a garage, it's where I'm going to work on this bus, I want lots of room on the sides. So I want to be able to have some pull-down tarps, or maybe I could even use this fabric somehow and roll it up so I can step in and out, when I need to, and have that extra room. This is the bike shed, now the Volkswagen and bike shed. I had to do some quick reorganization whenever the bus showed up. It showed up a day earlier than I thought it was going to. And I keep this shed really well organized for my vintage bike restoration. But I didn't have any time, so I had to pull everything out of the bus, and I kind of just stuck it in here. I've done a lot of reorganization since then. In fact, today I went through and opened up every bag, every box, and inventoried everything. And now I have a really good sense of what I have, and I have damn near everything. There are some problems, but the previous owner included a bunch of new in-box parts that he bought but never installed, and a bunch of old parts. All the seals are there, still in the bag. A bunch of spark plugs and oil filters and new drums, and I mean, it's really, really generous, and I'm really thankful. There are some bags of unlabeled hardware that, it's going to be challenging to figure out what that's for, but I'll get there. I'll break this whole project down into a bunch of smaller projects and then look closely at the hardware for each, and I'll figure it out. Okay, so we have unpacked the bus, and it's not inventoried yet, but it will be soon. And the next step is to vacuum.
It's pretty dirty in here, dusty.
There's also a dog in here. Will she be vacuumed? weekend working on the bus. Got everything unpacked, which was a major effort, and then cleaned the entire inside. And what I'd like to do today is just sort of walk around and look for rust. I know there's rust, I've seen it, but I don't know how bad it is. So the previous owner said it was pretty minimal on the undercarriage, and he's a pretty stand-up guy, so I believe him, but I want to see with my own eyes. Legend has it that the previous owners got this bus from a guy in Chicago. He and his son did the body work. So the previous owners in Iowa got this bus in Bondo and primer, and they painted it. Clearly the Chicago owners who did the body work dealt with the worst of the rust problems by putting riveting metal patches over top here. I gotta say it's I'm gonna want to fix that, but it's pretty stable now, and the paint is held up for 20 years. I obviously want to fix these things. There's a lot of pitting there, there's holes in the floor, but it's not rusting anymore. So good job, John and Blake in Iowa. So I crawled underneath here to take a look at the rust. Now these outriggers are the problem areas right here on the ends. I guess that's not too surprising. It's pretty soft. Finger through here. It's solid up here, but wow, look at that. I'm either going to have to repair these or just put entirely new ones in. Have I mentioned that I don't have a welder and I don't know how to weld yet? Same deal here. Worse. Solid up here, but pretty bad down here. I could just, based on what I've seen other people do on the YouTube, I could just cut out those problem areas and weld in some patches. But out here, this is all good. You know, I'll de-rust all of this and concentrate most of my efforts here on the ends. Overall, I'm really happy with this back area. I mean, the floors have their issues. I mean, again, we've got patches here just sort of screwed into place over the worst areas. And now here, this is typical where you've got the tire underneath spitting water up on the floor. So you've got rot all the way across here that they've contended with these patches. Look at that. Same deal over here. I don't know whether or not I will just cut out big sections of the floor and put new floor panels in those areas, or I'll just completely pull out the floor panels and put new ones in. Have I mentioned that I don't have a welder? I don't know how to weld yet.